very much a Westphalian concept of nation state. Long time ago, we have empires, we have kingdoms. We did not have nation states. So we were perantau. What does perantau mean? It means people who roam around from one place to another within the same space, within the same civilizational space. So that's Nusantara, the people who roam around like dolphins from one ocean to another ocean, one land to another land. And the Nusantarans, the people of this land, which consists of basically most, if not all of us in Southeast Asia, one can argue the size of it, right? Were an amazing, had amazing heritage, had an impressive, an old established civilization, right? Even before we go to previous civilization, the first admiral, female admiral of modern world was from Nusantara, right? The Admiral Malahayati, who commanded more than 100 fleet of ships, right? So it's amazing, and Nusantara was united by from the political standpoint, by a pledge. The pledge is called Sumpah Palapa, by under the empire of Majapahit, led by what would be the right term? Yeah, led by a leader, a commander, a prime minister, whatever you call it. Not the king. The king is Hayam Wuruk. The commander, the prime minister, the general at that time is all in one, I suppose. Is Gajah Mada. So Gajah Mada united Nusantara from the whole islands up to he stated, or if you read that, Palembang, the Sunda, up to even Pahang, which is part of Malaysia, Gurun, which is about 40 minutes away from USM Penang, where we are, where USM is. Right? So he united the whole of Nusantara, the whole of this space, and he expanded further and further. And that's where the word Gajah Mada comes from. Like the Universitas Gajah Mada is almost is synonymous basically to the concept of Nusantara. By the way, Nusantara is not something that is something that originates from Sumpah Palapa. Only you can trace back Nusantara to the 2,000 years ago, right? And at that time, Nusantara was the Sunda world, a Sunda basin, a Sunda continent, pentas Sunda. And at that time, if you look at the map at the bottom there, left hand corner there, the piece of land was integrated into one big whole, a big continent. And then came there was volcano eruptions, Krakatau, also Merapi, also and in Danau Toba as well. And then there was floods and all that. And then there was also tectonic shifts, right? And then the land mass actually moved away, and then it created massive floods, and then and some say tsunami as well. And then in different islands were formed, right? Different islands were formed, and that's how we emerged as a new space. And then Southeast Asia came much later than that. And if you look at the map there was the old map of Nusantara that emerged after the hundreds of years, thousands of years of the evolution, right? And on the right hand corner bottom there is a person named Hang Tuah. Hang Tuah is also another admiral in Nusantara. Is if Malahayati is much more closely linked to Indonesia. At that time, there's no Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, Singapore, Philippines. So there's one big piece of land known as Nusantara, right? And he is one of the admirals. These are equivalents to Cheng Ho, right? Of China. So we had our warriors back then. And by the way, if I can have a different lecture on this one, if you trace back, right, there were books written about, and the book is called East of Eden. You trace back the whole Nusantara, the Sunda basin, the Sunda continent. They talk about the lost city of Atlantis, because Atlantis, written by Plato, was in the tropics. Tropics is not Mediterranean. Tropics is this part of the world. So and I can have a different lecture about the technology we had long time ago that submerged, right? And we have proof of this, right? And we can argue we were the first Atlanteans. So Aquaman is here, right? We are the original Aquaman, right? Not that guy in Marvel, no, DC comic, right? We are Aquaman, Southeast Asian. Remember, as a Nusantaran, this is Aquaman, the original Aquaman. Yeah, yeah. So we spread up to. After this, we met to the west. We went to Madagascar. East, we went to Easter Islands. We went to Hawaii. South to New Zealand. North to Taiwan. In fact, parts of it to China. So the whole out of Taiwan theory is false. It's actually out of Sunda land theory. Right? So we went to Taiwan and we came back. It's the opposite, right? So, and there's already DNA proof, right? And we can have a different discussion on that one. So this is what Nusantara is, right? It's a big piece of civilizational habitat, community, maritime society. So this is a perspective that I'm sharing with you about Nusantara, and this is the world of Nusantara. All right, let's go to the next slide, right? The first slide I would like to show to you is the essence of religion in Nusantara, in Southeast Asia, and that is the primacy of religion. What is this? What is in the world is this, right? This is actually a piece of monument, the oldest piece of monument, not piece, a structure of monument in Southeast Asia, right? And we'll go to the next one. We'll explain to you. See that this monument. Then let me talk about the essence I want to convey to you. The primacy of religion in Southeast Asia, in Nusantara, meaning the religion is integral to the history, to the civilization, to the past societies, as well as present society of Southeast Asia. If you look at Angkor Wat, right, the great temple city, right? Angkor Wat means temple city in Cambodia, right? There's the largest temple city in the world, right? And it started out, it is interesting, it started out with Hinduism, and some of you who actually studied how, they have some confusion with the Hinduism, Buddhism. Well, a lot of roots of Buddhism can be found in Hinduism, right? In fact, we can argue that Buddhism is a branch of Hinduism. And in Nusantara and in Indonesia, oftentimes when we talk about empires, it is called, it is labeled, right? Not all of them, Hindu Buddhist empire, right? Because they are linked together or they evolve, right? And just like Angkor Wat, right? Angkor Wat, it started out as a Hindu civilization, Hindu heritage, but it evolves into a Buddhist heritage later in 200th century after that. So we go back long time ago. Religion was relevant, religion was present, religion was the essence of our civilization. Now let me bring you to the picture there, right? What in the world is that picture? If we can go back, that picture we wrote down there, Sungai Batu Monument. That is, by the way, the oldest monument in Southeast Asia, right? It is part of the Kedah Tua civilization. The Kedah Tua civilization is a civilization in North Malaysia. It's 788 BC, before Christ. Why is it called civilization? Because at that time we found thousands, I say thousands, some say millions, right, being discovered by the Archaeology Center of USM of microwave oven, right, of melting metals and producing metals. There are ports exporting metals. We are talking about before Christ, right? Before ancient civilization, and this civilization has existed long time ago, and they were able to not just amalgamate earth metals. They have outer space ability. They can amalgamate, they can smelt, they can melt and combine metals from the outer space, from meteoroid, right? And then this has been proven. When they do carbon dating, they cannot do carbon dating because carbon dating was carbon dating from the planet Earth. So they have to bring the whole thing, metal, back to Cambridge, and they found out that, well, it is from outer space. So, but in that particular civilization, the oldest structure is this structure, and this structure predates Islam, predates Buddhism predates Hinduism. They brought in gurus, masters, learners, scholars to this monument. This monument, by the way, is not too far from USM. It's about 1 hour drive if you go from here. They brought all the gurus. They said, this is not Islamic, this is not Buddhist, this is not Hinduist. So this predates all the religions, all the known religions, right? There's two structures there, right? There's a single round structure. So it's like they're still trying to figure out what is the function of this monument as a religious monument. But they all agree it is a religious monument because it has no industrial evidence surrounding it. So without going too far about this history, because there's a lot to tell about this story as well. The essence of it, we were born from a civilization that has religion as its center, right? Has religion as its center. And if you look at many other ancient empires, Majapahit, the Srivijaya, Majapahit, which is where where a big part of Java is, well, eventually the whole of Java, was basically a Hindu empire, right? But before that, you can see the Srivijaya Empire, which is the learning center of Buddhism. Whoever wants to learn about Buddhism or Sanskrit, right, the ancient writing that Su Yong Kong, Monkey King wants to the Monkey King wants to seek, right? Right? Well, the scriptures in Sanskrit, right? And Buddhism was in Srivijaya. Whereas Srivijaya is the southern tip of Sumatra, which is now part of Indonesia, of course. And you look at until now, right? The official religions that's present today: Buddhism in Cambodia, Thailand, and Myanmar. Islam official religion is Brunei, Malaysia. Brunei considered itself as an Islamic state, right? Islamic government, hudud, right? Malaysia has an official Islam as an official religion. The rest do not recognize one religion as official, even though they have majority in various religions, right? That includes Indonesia. But this is an important point. If you look at the foundational philosophy of Indonesia, Pancasila, right? Panca, that means five, right? The 5 principles, 5 foundational principles of Indonesia, right? The first one is kepercayaan ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, right? Ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, which means the belief in one God, this monistic religion, basically, right? Belief in so God is regarded as the first principle or the foundational philosophy of the country. It's like the constitution, even prior to the constitution, right? So Indonesia incorporates religion. In fact, if you look at the whole history, in fact, more than that, right? This one is to make it more encompassing. It's not naming one particular religion, right? So it is religion is part of the whole founding mindset of the founding fathers of Indonesia as well. And if you look at Singapore, right? If you look at Singapore, well, Singapore is a secular state. Well, Singapore, if you look at that picture there, Singapore, there's an inter-religious organization of Singapore. They come together untuk buka puasa. They come to break fast together, right? All the religions come together, and on the left there is the president of that inter-religious organization, right? So all this inter-religious organization leaders come together, members come together, all kinds. And by the way, Singapore is recognized as the most diverse country with a diverse group of religion in the world. So it's amazing that Singapore can have that kind of diversity, right? Judaism, Hinduism, Taoism, Islam, of course, Christianity, Sikhism, right? You name it. I've been to the conference where they have all the religions coming together. It's a magnificent kind of a it's amazing. And by the way, Singapore, prides itself of being, being able to manage more harmonious, at least conflict-free. Not conflict-free. Obviously, there's conflict here and there in all countries, but generally speaking, we don't see massive kind of conflict in Singapore. So the idea of religion is very much in the mind of the people as well as the government of Singapore. And if you look at the right-hand corner there, right, the primacy of religion, when Malaysia relocated the administrative center from Kuala Lumpur to Putrajaya, right, the whole idea is to build a different kind of or revive the idea of ulama and umara and the rakyat. Ulama is the scholars, right? Umara are the leaders, and then the rakyat. There's if you look at the green color building, that is the building of the Minister's office, and the red color is the masjid, right? And then the space in between is for the people, and then we have the environment there. So almost like God, people, and environment, almost like apa namanya three kata the Balinese Hinduist belief system, the three people, environment, God kind of thing, right? So this is the first, and if you forget everything, remember this, right? The primacy of religion in Southeast Asia. All right, we move to the next one. The next slide. The next slide is about the faith-based institutions in Southeast Asia. Oh God, we're already 6:20 now. Faith-based institutions. So that is Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is a temple city. I just take this as a symbol of what I want to say, right? What do I mean by faith-based institutions? What I plan to do. Can you go back to the Istiqlal Masjid just now? What I plan to do with this presentation today is to actually provide an exploratory insights of religion, right? So we won't be able to cover all grounds, but at least to explore some insights, right? And number two is to highlight certain key points, some blind spots, and marginalized discourse. So I want to share with you what I think are certain discourses, certain realities that are not being captured in mainstream discussion, mainstream discourses on religion in Southeast Asia. So I would like to highlight that to you. So certain blind spots that we might not see, as well as marginalized discourse, right? And the third is, like I said just now, I'm sharing with you a Malaysian Nusantara perspective. And the fourth, probably some fun stuff to share with your friends, hopefully, right? Okay, let's go back to the slide okay, faith-based institutions. I take this as a symbol, the Angkor Wat, the temple city, as a symbol, the symbol of institutions, faith-based institutions throughout Southeast Asia. So it's you find pockets, spaces of faith-based institutions, FBIs, right? So city of FBIs, right? So let's go to the next one, right? So it can be governmental, and some of you folks have actually highlighted a very important part. And if you look at institutional Christianity, institutional Islam, and this is if you look at Indonesia, all right, an example would be universities. Among the top-notch universities, private universities, right? UGM is also a university, but it's not private, right? Are actually founded by religion, right? So if we look at all these universities, are top-notch universities, right? The Atmajaya Catholic University, Petra Christian University, Parayahangan Catholic University. These are top-notch university, right? And we have Universitas Mohammadiyah Surakarta, Ciputra University, Bina Nusantara University, Pelita Harapan, that actually gives you, and Pelita means light, light, hope of light, the university. Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta, which is your neighbor in Jogja, and Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. Right? So you look at, the manifestations of religion in faith-based organizations. So they might not be official religion as such, but they emerge as institutions, emerge as faith-based institutions in the society, contributing to society, shaping the society, empowering the society. So this is one manifestations of religion in Southeast Asia. Right? moderator, if you want to stop me, go ahead anytime. It's fine, because I have 4 points here. You can stop me anytime. So this is one example of faith-based institution, and religion plays a big role. Like one of you said just now, right? About in Thailand, right? Christianity brought technology, knowledge, and education to Thailand, right? Of course, Thailand had its own knowledge, own education as well, but Christianity brought in that part of that dimension of into the society. Likewise, Islam did the same thing, right? And especially if you look at Muhammad as a faith-based organization, he has done extremely well because it has not only established universities, but has also established hospitals in every province in Indonesia, right? Also university in every province in Indonesia. Also secondary schools, also primary schools. So this is an impressive, amazing faith-based organizations, faith-based institution, I would say, right? But there are other institutions, and not just education. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. And by the way, Rajah is from UMM, Universitas Mohammad Malang, one of the top-notch universities in Indonesia, private state. And in the Philippines, right? If you go to the Philippines, you know, it's amazing the manifestation of Catholic Church or Catholic system, Catholic institutions, right? The La Salle University, the Ateneo University, on the left there, right? Those are basically, you know, St. Thomas University. That's right, right? All the Saints University, right? These are all universities that inspired or originated or funded by the Catholic institution. You know, so we see the institutional religion. So this is one thing for us in Southeast Asia we should share with our Western friends. Whenever they come over our side of the world, they tend to see problems with religion, right? They talk about this, they talk about that, they want to know about conflict, they want to know about terrorism, separatism, they want to know extremism. All those exist in our society, but they do. I remember they come and visit us in our university, and I said, if you do not understand institutional religion, you do not understand Nusantara, you do not understand religion in our part of the world, because religion manifests itself as institutions, as strong institutions. And in the case, I'll show you an example. Islamic finance, right, is a growing institution in Malaysia and is leading the world, right? And in Malaysia, people who subscribe, who buys into Islamic financial products, majority are non-Muslims, and yet in Malaysia, majority of the population are Muslims. So what it means is the Islamic financial products are being trusted. So it's not about converting anyone and all that. It's about offering what is good to the people. And in Islam, there's something called Rahmatan Alil Alamin. It also exists in Christianity, it also exists in Buddhism. It's about spreading the love, it's about doing good, right? So, and this is an important part of religion, right? And you see in the halal tourism, you know, and in Indonesia will have and has now the biggest modern halal valley in the region as well. And halal is a new form of certification of food, right? So we see this emerging faith-based institutions, and halal is kind of an institution that can transform the food industry, and that can and by the way, a lot of companies in Malaysia with halal companies, they are non-Muslim companies, but because they have halal certification, their profits double, triple, quadruple, you know, 10 times more than that, because they have halal networks that they can export halal food throughout the world. So this is you know, the institutionalization of halal, right? Of halal food is one form of manifestation of religion, right? And in Malaysia, there's index, Sharia index. So we don't talk about you know, the Islamic what is it? Islamic the ISIS, and we just talk about how to make public administration more ethical by using Sharia principles, right? So we don't talk about, you know, the Khilafah and all of that. We talk about making things more ethical using Islamic principles, right? So this is a manifestation of religion into institutions. If we move to the next one. Okay. Now the third one, I think this is a marginalized discourse. What is it? It's the spirituality imperative or the spirituality movement, right? What does it mean? It means the spirituality imperative is about going to the inner self, right? It is two quotes from Rumi. Rumi is one famous scholar, also a Sufi, but also a scholar, also a philosopher, right? He said, remember, the entrance to the sanctuary is inside you. And Rumi challenges us, when will you begin that long journey into yourself? So the spirituality imperative in Nusantara, in Southeast Asia for that matter, is a marginalized discourse and has not been given enough attention. And yet it is an integral, it is a critical, it's a substantive part of the religion. I give you some examples there, right? The Jesuitic order, right, from Catholic order, one of the Catholic orders, which is most powerful, not most, very, very powerful, I should not make that claim, but I've met people from the Jesuit peoples, right? I know there are controversies about the Jesuits, but I know a good friend of mine who from same university, he won the best thesis from a university, right? And he's Indonesian. He actually just passed away this year, right? Some of the Indonesians might know him. Is Harry Prianto, right? Yeah? Harry Priyono, maaf ya, Harry Priyono. If let's say graduate, London School of Economics graduate as well. He's a Jesuit, but Jesuit has a strong tradition of understanding spirituality and manifesting spirituality to the society. And the Sufi order, that's another one. The tariqat, right? The tariqat is Sufi order of Islam, right? It's about developing the inner self. It's about cleansing. It's about coming closer to God by purifying yourself of impurities, of things that are blocking you from understanding God, from getting close to God. The Sufi order is a big movement, a big essence, a big reality that is not being highlighted enough. In fact, it's seldom in the mainstream discourse, seldom in the press, right? But it's not just the Catholic, not just the Islam, but if you look at Hinduism, right? One of the highest state of Purusarta means the aim of human pursuit, right? The aim of the human pursuit, the whole purpose, basically. If you look at and moksha is basically to relinquish, to liberate oneself, right? And of course, it be interpreted differently in different cultures, and in Nusantara, it mixed with Islam, it mixed with different religions, mixed with the traditional religion as well, Gajah Mada moksa kan? But don't get there. There's also belief that Hang Tuah also moksa. Hang Tuah, it's a Muslim, right? A lot of people believe that Hang Tuah ghaib. He disappeared because he practiced a kind of art, right? Of self-enlightenment that he turned into energy or something. I'm not sure. I wouldn't describe it that way because I do not know, right? Basically, more or less, that we see that in science fiction. If you see that in superhero stories, in Lucy, they turn ultimately we are all energies, kind of thing, right? That's Hinduism, right? Hinduism, and the highest state of Hinduism. Right? If you look at Buddhism, the Noble Eightfold Path, the highest ones are the two, the mindfulness and concentration. It's about achieving samadhi, right? What is samadhi? Bersamadhi, right? Be one with, right? It's basically self-effacement, right? It's also about the spirituality. It's about the tariqat. Tariqat means a path. The Tao. So if you look at Tao Te Ching, Tao means path, right? The path. Tariqat means the path. Jesuitic is an order, right? So all this talks about the path of spiritual enlightenment, spiritual empowerment, and all these transcendental movements are part of Nusantara. I'll show you an example, specific example, right? Okay, on the next slide. Okay. All right. whole story of Indonesia, right? Especially this part of the story, the Wali Songo, the nine saints, the Sunan, all the Sunans that, and in the discourse of Indonesia, the nine Sunans, the nine saints actually help spread Islam, help spread literacy, religious literacy to Nusantara, to Indonesia, in fact to Malaysia as well. The nine gurus or the nine saints, right? And then they are also Sufis, right? They have mystical powers and all that, so to say, right? Of course, some believe, some do not believe. And if you go down south, downward there, Gus Dur, Abdul Rahman Wahid, right? He's from the same tradition there, right? And some say, he does have this metaphysical ability, this supernatural, the sixth sense, right? He can actually, he's a blind cleric, more to say, almost blind, hard to see, but he can see things, he can sense things, he can, and this is part of the Sufi belief system as well, that we can achieve more than just physical ability, right? We are not physical human being in a spiritual path. We are spiritual being in a human journey, right? We are in essence spiritual beings, right? And if you look at that picture down there, right, that is the first Agong, first Sultan, first King of Malaysia, right? He's Sultan Agong, right? Abdul Rahman. He's from Negeri Sembilan. He's a Minang. Minang is a ethnic group in Sumatra, right? He's a Minang in Negeri Sembilan. Negeri Sembilan, they are full of Minangs in there. The whole system is Minang system, custom is Minang. And his face is the same face that is used in all our currency in Malaysia. That is the face of the first king of Malaysia. And he's a Minang, and he is a tarikat guy. And he belongs to a particular tarikat. And tarikat is named Tarikat Muhammadiyah. Right, it's the tarikat, right, and that is the picture of him. Then Tarikat Muhammadiyah talks about evolving oneself to come close as much as possible to the personality of Prophet Muhammad, right? So you know the fitrah, our original self is actually good, and we want to bring ourselves back to that pure sense and be like Prophet Muhammad, basically. And this is something. There's contestation about this. The apa namanya Gajah Mada. Now, Gajah Mada expansion of unifying Nusantara is not just a political quest. It's also about a spiritual quest. Now, if you look at the scriptures, and there has been contestation about this as well, but I want to just put forth to you, posit this to you, submit to you for your consideration. Remember Sumpah Palapa, which is the pledge that Gajah Mada made. I would tidak akan makan yang kenyang, tidak akan tidur yang nyenyak. He basically go through a fasting state. He was in a spiritual state, a state of trance, more or less, right? In a spiritual quest. So he was fasting, was spreading Hinduism, right, through Nusantara. And if you've been to Trawulan, that picture, that Trawulan is a place in Jawa, right? It's a mystical place. I've been there.
Excuse me, Prof. Bustami?
Yeah.
Sorry for bothering your discussion, but